Deb in Saginaw, Michigan. Hey, Deb, thanks for watching us on YouTube. What's up?
Hey, Tom. May I take 1 minute to make a statement addressing current events and your impeachment question?
Sure.
Okay. Tom, we were both teenagers in 1969 when, 50 years ago this week, 7 people were horrifically murdered in California by a group of impressionable young people that were inspired by the words of a man who wanted to incite a race war.
Right.
Though he was not physically present at those murders, in 1971, he was convicted of 7 first-degree murder charges, spent 40 years in prison, where he died in 2017.
Right, we're talking about Charlie Manson. Yeah.
Yeah, that man was Charles Manson. Imagine if he had access to social media and had held rallies spewing his hate-filled rhetoric. My opinion is that we are dealing with a Trumpian version of helter-skelter. So when you ask, is what Trump doing an impeachable offense? I say yes. Trump must be held accountable just as Manson was. Words have consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was and thank you, Deb. You're responding to the question that I was asking yesterday, and not a lot of people called to bite on it, although, truth be told, by the time I got to that question, all the lines were slammed, and they just stayed that way all day, so a lot of people probably just couldn't get through to comment on it. And that was, what do you think of my personal opinion, that I'm not hearing, frankly, echoed anywhere else, and it surprises me. I'm not hearing this, even on MSNBC or the so-called liberal media, that the definition of high crimes and misdemeanors does not mean the criminal code. It means misbehavior in office or using a public office for purposes of other than benefiting the public. That's what it means. You can look it up. That's what it means today in legal dictionaries, and that's what it meant in 1787 in legal dictionaries. And so when the founders said that, the president shall be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, what they were saying is for behavior that is destructive to the office of the presidency, behavior that is destructive to the United States, or behavior that inappropriately enriches the president at the expense of the American people. That is absolutely what we are seeing. And at the top of that behavior, in addition to all of his financial crimes and his violations of the Emoluments Clause, I also see his stoking racial resentment for the purposes of political gain. And he's got an entire political party behind him on this, and I think that that's impeachable. I think that's impeachable at so many different levels. And I think, frankly, that not only should Trump be impeached, I think Mitch McConnell should be impeached. I think Bill Barr should be impeached. For these same purposes, for promoting hatred among Americans, between Americans, and promoting American,
Well, and my other feeling is maybe a more efficient method for Congress might be to invoke the 25th Amendment, because Trump has bastardized the presidency and is clearly unfit for office.
I agree with your concluding point, but the problem with the 25th Amendment is Congress doesn't invoke it. The vice president has to invoke it, and then it goes to the cabinet. And Trump has made very sure that his vice president is a wimpy toady, and his cabinet is filled with billionaires who share his agenda.